Hello, hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us for another Sunday shift. As always, please make sure to like, subscribe, leave us comments. We love them all. Tanya, how are you?
Tracy. I am well. Thank you. I had a really busy week last week. It was fun though. I was hosting a community meeting to talk about traffic safety. The last week was the last week of Black History Month, and we were doing Black History, well, not Black History, but just Black History and Futures film series every Friday night. And then I participated in the Black Joy Parade in Oakland. So it was really, really busy last week. So thanks for the person that came in. Was it Brittany
That was
came
great.
in?
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for holding it down, Brittany. And looking forward to the conversation this week.
Oh, me too. So first of all, I loved in the comments when somebody's like, "Where's Tanya? Where's our little person
Oh,
in the world?" I was like, "The parade." Like Tanya makes
thank you all.
right before we push play, I was like, Tanya, there's a candidate that I haven't done anything for, so I'm gonna make some calls tomorrow. Like, just try to be civically engaged out here.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
we
doing
need it
it.
all.
We're doing it. I ended up doing a training a couple weeks ago, and then somebody hit me back and just like left me the sweetest message about
Hmm.
how like it was the best training they ever came to. I was like tearing up. I was like, thank you so much. I love to train.
Yay!
It was so good. This week, Tanya. So I'm like working. I have like a bunch of different contracts coming out. And last year, I know folks, I talked about it a little bit. I quit my job in a blaze of glory. So I've been
Hmm.
consulting since then. And this week, I was just busy, busy. So I like was set up. I have my stuff. And then I had like taken a break from working and I went back to my computer and it just was black with like a little tiny rainbow across the top. I
Oh,
said, what does
that
this
was
mean?
like, you're dead. That's it. Bye.
Well, what's this? Is this what's going on? And so I like went to the Apple store and I've never experienced an employee feel so bad for me at one time. Like I was just like, what is going on? What can you do? He's like trying to do everything. He was like, ma'am, there's nothing here. He was like, we can try to fix it, but like Apple has this very weird, like flat fee of like $500 or something, $600 to maybe fix it.
To maybe,
To maybe fix it.
you might as well just take that 500 and invest in a new one.
Which is what I did. But like
Right.
my whole
Bitch.
I didn't even know. I was like behind a mask and everything. 'Cause I still mask when I go out.
Hmm.
So he like I don't know, my face must have cracked so bad behind the mask.
Oh,
Like, I'm so sorry. Like I really felt his pity for me. He was just like, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I like I can't do anything for you. So I like just went home. I thought about it. I had a milkshake. I was like, you know what? This is my treat for myself. I'm gonna think about it. And so I bought a new computer, which is why it's so crispy. I don't even have a ring light. I was like, what
oh
is
my God. It looks so, like, you look so great right
it?
now. Like, usually you're kind of, it's dark and you're kind of
Yeah.
hidden. Oh my God. It's like you've got a natural light in front of you and behind you, and it just beautiful. I was like, oh my God, Tracy looks so great. I was like, is it
Thank
just the
you.
computer?
That's what I said. I was like, when I like logged on, because it was my first time logging on to Zoom. Because like I
Uh-huh.
got it, but I was like not zooming. I was like, because I had like a bunch of like writing to do, which is why it was like particularly devastating that the computer went out.
Oh
Look,
no.
if I don't know if other people are like me, but if you have to write for work, you gotta be in the mood to write.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just not gonna be good. So I was like in the mood to write. So I was like, when I finally was like, okay, I don't have a computer yet, I have to wait for it to get delivered. I like was just like typing on my phone and like writing. I have this thing called a remarkable, but it wasn't the same as like you were ready to type. But everything got done. A little like everybody was like very generous about the deadlines. And here we are. Money I didn't have later. It was literally I haven't had to buy a computer in years because I've been working at an organization. So this, I was like, damn, I got no Amex, like nobody's business card. It's just me. Woo.
Ooh, I know, and that seems like apples are not cheap. So, I know that was like a steep investment. So,
Fingers crossed
but
I get some more contracts to like work it out. But I've been blessed, and so I can't
yeah.
complain. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
Woo.
congrats on the new Apple. I'm like really cute. I'm like a computer Apple nerd, so I'm like I want to know what kind of computer you got and like and all
Basic,
of that. You just
basic.
let Did you get the Air or the MacBook or desktop?
I got the Air.
Okay.
Because one, it was like the cheapest, but still
Yeah.
like good. So I got
Yeah.
it with like a little bit of extra memory. Because
Okay.
or like you don't really need the Pro unless you're like editing. And for
Mm-hmm.
anybody who knows us, they know I don't edit this show. I just take it, I take it right from Zoom, and
Yeah.
I've uploaded any kind of imperfections and all. I'm just like, whatever.
Yes, we are here 100% natural.
There you go. I have been thinking, and if anybody knows how, please hit me up. I have been thinking like, oh, I'm gonna do something like give us a little background, a little border, but I just haven't done it yet. Um, anyway, once the show gets better, then maybe we'll upgrade our upgrade what we're doing.
We need a sponsor. That's what we need. You like Stone Cold and the Jackal. They got themselves a sponsor for a blog. So that's what we need.
Well, because they like if you look if so I know like some people watch this on YouTube, but like if you look on Apple and like you'll see like the podcasts that are like
Mhm.
recommended if you listen to us. And
Mhm.
so it's like Port Misery, it's like, like the homies. And then like Stone Cold and the Jackal is one of them. And I was like, huh. So I went to their page. I'm like, why we not recommended? Why we not recommended if you listen to them?
Right? We should be recommended.
Not
Yeah, so
okay.
they're like part of an actual like media, like what I forgot the name of the website, but it's like soap
Daily
opera
drama or
media,
something.
daily drama, right? So that's why they got all the hookup. That's what we need. Soap opera digest, y'all better hook us up.
Somebody hook us up. We can talk
Right.
about the soaps. Now I will stop slandering people. I will say before we hopped in, why did I get dragged in the comments?
Uh-oh.
It was fine. I laughed. I mean, one thing about me is I'm very good at laughing at myself. But it was like somebody who was like, "You always say you're not on Twitter, but you like comment on Twitter. You hate Nita. And it's so good to see you finally say something different." And I was like, "Oh, I guess that like does make sense because like I'm on Twitter and like on my For You page, stuff will like come up because I still follow people who I really like who tweet about soaps. But for me, I'm not trying to get into no personal scraps with people. Like, because I know you girls like to tussle, in the words of my favorite TikTok. And I'm just really not trying to do that. Like, I use my Twitter for like work and activism. I'm not trying to have somebody be like, who is Carly? You know what I mean?
Sorry.
Like, what's a
Ah.
Nina and a Sona? Why do you hate You know what I mean? I'm not like,
Yeah, on your personal account because folks are just
yeah.
be like confused. They're like, what?
Yeah. So
And
I don't like so I see a bunch of stuff, but I try not to add to the conversation because we have this. So like I don't need to add on Twitter.
yeah, and I'm afraid of GH fans on Twitter. Y'all are very strong willed and have strong opinions, and I
It
don't want
gets
to be cussed out.
personal.
I don't want to get cussed out, and I'm still trying to navigate what I'm gonna do professionally around Twitter. Twitter has become very hard. And back in I was on there when it first started, and everyone was all friendly and stuff. There was bots, but for the most
Yeah.
part, politically and socially, Twitter was a lot nicer. And so now it's like I'm afraid. But I'm gonna do what I can. I'm gonna do it.
I'm not
But
afraid of what I'm afraid what I will say back and what I don't.
oh
And
yeah.
this is actually I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before, but this
Mhm.
did happen to me because I watch Grey's Anatomy and I hate Owen Hunt.
Oh
My
yeah.
Grey's fans, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And so I was just like talking about how I wanted Owen Hunt to die, how I hate this man. And then the right wing, because I was like doing some like very public like action stuff. And this was years ago. And the right wing, like some right wing site, like found me and then sent my tweets to my job. It was like, this person that you works for you, how dare you work for with somebody who's like wishing death on this man? I was like, oh yeah, yikes. So I'm
Oh,
always been,
I don't even know why I'm afraid of that, because if someone said stuff to my boss, she'd be like, "What? I say a lot worse than you."
your boss would say that. Your boss,
And then she would curse you out for coming for me. That's
she would. She got your back. I love your boss.
right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. But it's just like, I mean, like I didn't get fired or anything. They were just like, "What's going on? Are you okay?" It was
Right.
also like some GH, and I won't get too deep into it, and then we'll finally start. But like some
Yeah.
GH Twitter stuff that happened, and like I was like defending myself, and like somebody, this is when I still worked for an org. They were like, "Are you okay? Do you need a lawyer?" I was like, "This is embarrassing." You know what I'm saying? Because I have to like explain. I have to explain like, oh no. It's about my soap opera. Don't worry about that. It's fine. I don't need a lawyer. Thank you
Thank
though.
you. It's television beef. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you for offering. And like that's
Yes.
embarrassing. So like it was just funny when I got dragged into comments. Which shout out to you for leaving it. I like that kind of stuff does not offend me or us. They were just like, how like you be saying you ain't on there? And I just like laughed. I was like, you're right. I do be saying that. And I do be commenting.
It's hard not to. It's
It
still
is.
like, I mean, even though the platform is being trashed, it's still the major platform for entertainment discussion, political discussion.
Yeah.
So you just have to kind of go there. I know Threads, it's trying to weave its way in, but folks don't trust Facebook any further than they do Twitter. So it's
Right.
like, you go where people are at.
And where it's like designed for
Hmm.
conversation.
Quick
You know,
conversation. Yeah.
right? Because like Facebook is like interesting. Because I see you sometimes too. We're both in like a couple Facebook groups.
Hmm.
Um,
Sometimes they be saying some off the wall stuff, and I'm like, what? And I have to comment. I'm like, this
yes,
is ridiculous.
yes. And so like, but it's just also not built for like building community. Like,
Right.
you know, with like Britt and Tar, like these are people we met on Twitter, and
Hmm.
they come on the show all the time. Like, you know, when we need a pinch hitter. So you know, like it's not. I've not met anybody. I've not built any relationship with anybody on Facebook because it's not built for that. That we
Right.
want us to do that.
Yeah.
It's just interesting and different. And so when I see something that's like egregious, I'm like, I'm not gonna tweet about it because I don't want nobody dragging me into my personal life. But I'm gonna talk about it on this show. And that's what happens sometimes.
Right.
Anyway, what a week. I did not like it.
You're like, what a week. I didn't like it.
What a GH week. I have so many things to say. Uh,
Okay.
but let's start because we're gonna like do it how we've been doing it. We'll
Yeah.
go through story by story. But who was
Hmm.
your performer of the week?
I would have to say Jane Elliott. Um,
Yeah.
she went through some ups and downs, and she did some shenanigans, but at each turn, it was amazing performance. Love her. She's comedy. There was even stuff that I missed because Jeesh got interrupted over some announcement. I don't even remember what it was, but I missed some part of Wednesday, I believe.
Mm,
Um, but the parts that I did see of her, like especially when she finally allowed Brooklyn the opportunity to wear her grandmother's dress
hmm.
or Lila's dress, that choked me up. I shed a tear.
Yeah.
But she was hilarious. I saw memes of the YMCA. I was like, that's just funny, and I didn't even see it. That's just funny that she would do that. So,
Right.
yeah, and then the little things like I did see a scene with Gregory was like, "Save me a dance," and and then Maxie's like, "See," and then she's like, so
I
it's just
know
cute.
they were
Her
cute.
she's being the protective grandmother, but she's also in love, and just when anyone has a crush or anything, you get silly and excited over little things like that. That's
Yeah.
universal, no matter how old you are or how young you are or how, like really straight laced or strict you are. It doesn't matter. If someone that you like shows that they like you back in some small way, you just get silly excited about it. And
Mhm.
Jane Elliott did that perfectly. And
Mhm.
like folk, she was, I loved her. I love her. I love her. I'm glad she's, there. She's on contract, right? She's not
Yeah.
recurring. She's not a guest. No, she's the, yes.
I
Great.
wanted to
I'm
stay
so glad.
forever. Don't leave.
Yes. Don't leave because she's amazing. So, yay, Jane Elliott.
Yeah. You know what? That's perfect. I was like, who was trying to get perform of the week of? But yeah, Jane Elliott was perfect. No
Mhm.
notes. I loved everything about her.
Yes. Amazing.
Uh, so this week, let's start with the most controversial. Let's start with the Sona breakup. Uh,
Was it controversial? It wasn't to me. It was like, finally.
like Nina shows up to the gallery, is talking to Ava, and then we find out Ava's waiting on somebody, and that somebody is Sunny. And Sunny and Nina talk. She realizes he ain't got his ring, and he told her, "You're petty and you're
Reckless and
reckless,
petty. Yes.
reckless and petty."
Petty.
Um, yeah. What did you think? Oh, I want to know all about how you feel
He's
about this breakup.
everything. First of all, I loved how she was super jealous of Ava. And she was like, what, you guys have a relationship? You know what she meant by that, but why are you being jealous over the fact that she has any kind of relationship with Sunny? That's how insecure Nina is, right?
She
Anyone that
might have a
knows,
right to be.
I mean, I just like she was picking up on some cues that at this point was unnecessary. But yeah, it could happen. She might actually push them together if she keeps it up. But I love that. I loved how, Ava was just like, yeah, I'm sorry this has happened to you, but not surprised. Like she shouldn't have been surprised. How Sonny just kind of cuts folks off. Once he's done with you, he's done with you.
Yep.
And so Ava knows what that's about. And so yeah, she wasn't surprised that it was gonna happen. And Ava kind of warned her throughout this whole process, really.
Did.
Um, and Nina did not heed any advice or words of warning from Ava. So I loved it. I loved how, I mean, Sunny can be really mean and unforgiving. And sometimes it's like you feel bad for the person who you like, but when the person deserves it, it's everything. Right. So when Sunny's like, I'm here. What do you want to talk about? What it's your time. Just really cold and just not,
Mhm.
not having any kind of feelings towards her. And she was hurt. She's like, what? We mean to each other. We're in love. And he's like, yeah, but it's over now. So, this is like, I did have love for you, but now I don't. Like, it's over. Yes, it's struggle for me, but I'm gonna get over it. I took off the ring. The ring's important to someone who's important to me, but you're not important to me anymore. All of the things. It was like, yes, yes, yes. Yes, do it. Punch, jab, yes, smack her. I was just, he was lobbing them, and she was being thrown and hurt every which way. And I loved it when it was funny because he doesn't mind revenge. What he
Mhm.
doesn't like is messy, petty stuff.
Yep.
And that's like, because you can throw all the things in his face. Like, he's done it all. He's been mean. He's been ruthless. He's like, I don't mind that. But when you're petty, and first of all, when you're petty and then you mess with his family, that's a line that's crossed. So she crossed the lines. Now, I don't know if he'll get back together because she walked away and she was just like, well, I'm not giving up on you. There's still their story to tell there apparently, but I'm satisfied with this portion of Sona being over.
Mm.
When he took off the ring, that was it. I loved it.
Well, last week I was like laughing because like every section I had like some kind of song to go along with it. So for me, it was like this was 112. It's over now. Like it's a shame we're breaking up like this. We don't even talk. But like I will say, as the elders say, and I now feel like we're approaching elder. You lose them how you got them.
Right?
Have they not told us that our whole lives? You lose them how you
Yes.
got them. And so it was interesting because she believed that she was better than the other women that Sunny has been with.
Yeah, she said that line. She's like,
Yeah.
"You have never experienced a love, not even with Carly." I was like, "Girl,
It's like, who gonna tell her about Brenda? Who gonna tell her?
right?" Brenda,
Maybe
Carly.
Nina's
I
not
mean,
met Brenda, but like, who gonna tell her? Because
somebody.
Carly and Sunny are like volatile and like they have their ebbs and flows or whatever. But like the love that she thinks she has with Sunny is actually the love he has with Brenda. Now you can have your like opinions about which one is better. I don't ship anybody with Sunny except for Jason, but like I but it was like, oh girl, you're not special. You're not even in the top three because he probably loved Kate Howard more than he loved you.
Yeah,
And
I would put her in the same category as Emily almost. Not even Emily. Emily's a little bit below because they never got really married, but I'm just like, that's the blip
oh, so gross.
that Nina is in his life is the same, I think, which is
But you
pretty
know
sad.
what? I can't like again, I'm gonna give some grace to Nina because we all know what it's like to be Delulu and that Delulu love. Because she thought she changed that man. She was like, he's different with me. And guess what, girl? I've been there too. He's different with me. And
People
guess
are different with different people.
he's the same with everyone. He's the same with he's the same man with everyone,
Yeah.
actually. And you can see that in the breakup. I mean, he is growing up, which is why he didn't throw barware at her. He just threw it in the apartment last week. That he's not like yelling at her and calling her a psychotic piece of trash like he did Claudia. Like there's like a growth there.
Claudia. That's who
That
it
was
is.
the
Claudia and Nina. Well,
and so I think that like, on surface level, because like she keeps saying like, oh, all I did was this. It was funny because a lot of times I get like our like when I do like our recaps or whatever, I go to Soap Central and they happen to have somebody write this like super, I don't know, pro Nina kind of article. And it was like talking about the breakup. It was like all she did was the crime of committing a crime. And if that would have happened to anyone else in any other scenario, like any other relationship she was in, it would have been more forgivable. But I think that Sunny like nail on the head, which was like, this is not okay in my world. That I can be like vindictive in business. But when it comes to my personal life, I really don't have the room to be vindictive because of my business. And so with Nina, you did this and you put everybody at risk because you didn't think through the fact that, the feds could be like, oh, well, this is nothing. Now I'm going to use you against Sunny. Those are kind of the things, and so I think that that's why for other people it would have been forgivable, but when everybody is putting Sunny up on this pedestal and everybody is having really ridiculous like lines around Sunny and how important he is, what you did to him ends up being like, a bigger deal. I also think that the show continues to make this mistake of making everything about Carly. What Nina did to Sunny and to Sunny's family is bigger than Carly. She's like, well, like I should have called Carly again. You didn't have to call Carly again. You could have called Willow and Michael actually, because you were
you
going back and forth to their house anyway.
you could have not told. This is the funny thing. She told Wiley
Right.
when he was like 3 or 4. Like
Right.
you couldn't have, yeah, you put everybody in the middle of this mess. Yeah, it definitely wasn't just about Sunny.
You could have called Christina. You could have called Dante. You could have called anybody. And so to continue to make it about continue to silo it and make it just about the beef with Carly is like it it loses its luster and it like actually minimizes what happened. And even with Sunny being like, it's like, yeah, of course, it's like it feels silly that he wouldn't forgive her over like something that they feel is small, but it's the same thing I say about Sunny and Michael, which is like, what is the cute? What is cumulative? What is like, actually, girl, you did this in Nixon Falls, I forgave you. You came after my son, I sided with you. Like, I messed up my relationship with my entire family for you then to go turn around and do this other thing. And so I just felt like it was really interesting. I also don't know if this means it's the end for them. I think that if anything calls for the end of them, it's going to be when Ava and Sunny hook up. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I made a side comment about the breakup and what was happening with Carly. At first, it was like I made the comment before Friday because I really thought that Carly was really going to try to end it with Drew.
Mm.
But I was just like, it's interesting that both Carly and Sunny might be free for when their boyfriend Jason comes back.
Ah!
That's what I was like, because Jason put Jason in the mix, you know, that might add a whole other flavor. Like he might be like, Sonny, you can't trust this woman. She's totally destroyed your family. She's put you in the business at risk. And Sonny might be like, yep, you're right.
Right. I
So,
mean, so we don't know. Like, it feels like Jason might be true. Like, we don't know how Jason's coming back. So he might be like, you know, he
oh
might
yeah,
have like brain. Who knows?
we're gonna have to theorize on that later.
Yeah. But when Jason is Jason, whatever that is,
Yeah.
he would not have been okay with Sunny. Like, he's Jason is like, listen, I couldn't have Carly, so I'm a Carson fan. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's also like, Michael has always been kind of more important than his own kids, to be honest.
Hmm.
And
Right.
so to like have him go against Michael for Nina is also like, Jason is not would not be happy about that or okay with that.
Mm.
So I think it's going to be really interesting to see like once everything settles where Jason lands on things, but I don't think he would be even I saw Laura write on Stephen Bradford's podcast and they were like joking about like how they were like they still together.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a well told story.
Hmm.
And we've talked about this at length, but it's really clear that it would have been a different story if Jason would have still been there and you would have had Jarly versus Sona.
Hmm.
Because then you like part of the issue is that Carly really, in the sense of their relationship, didn't do a whole lot wrong. So Sunny just looked ridiculous. If Jason would have been there, it would have been different. So
Hmm.
we'll see, but I agree. Also, like you said, interesting that Crew was like on the flip side of it, like reaffirming that they were together while
Hmm.
Sona was breaking up.
All
So
right.
we'll see.
So we'll see, and we'll see how long crew lasts too.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing I was gonna say is like I can't believe they're still having Nina talk about like how Carly kept her daughters from her.
Daughters. Make sure you
Right.
understand that.
Right. Because I'm also like, when is it gonna come out that Sunny knew about Nell too?
Right? There's so many still secrets out there that are not.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if they even remember that. But like
Right.
Jack was the one who told Carly to hide it. And when
Hmm.
Sunny and Jason then found out, they were like, oh yeah, yeah, you probably shouldn't tell us.
Right. So,
So Sunny knew too. Um,
exactly.
and he was part of that keeping your daughter from you. Um, it's just hopefully Liz and Pat give us some better writing because it was
Okay.
anyway. Josh finds Dex. She goes to like some town with the help of
Hmm.
Spinelli, finds her man, her man, her man, and she wants him to come home.
You know what? It reminds me of other stories with young lovers.
Mm,
Especially, I'm thinking about Young and the Restless. I think Joss and Dex remind me a lot of Danny Jr. and Lily, and Young and the Restless. So
I don't know these. I don't know the
yeah. But
reference.
basically, Danny was on the run and Lily was like, no, I can't live without him. So she chases after him and they go on the run together. And so I'm like, I wasn't shocked by the story per se. What I was shocked by was Michael calling Joss and be like, bring him back. I was like, okay. Now I shouldn't have been shocked because y'all were all saying Dex ain't gone, his contract ain't up, all that. So, and that's true. We did not hear some newspaper article saying goodbye to Evan. None of that. So I shouldn't have been too shocked by it, but it did still surprise me. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting. Um, Young Love. I thought, they had their, I almost feel like it was a requisite sex scene, the way they had it. Like, oh, I miss you so much. Oh, show me. And I was like, okay, shock, not shock. It wasn't too romantic the way that they had it happen. But I'm glad for Joss. She got her man back. She was like, I ain't letting him go, and she was true to her word. And so there it goes. I saw this funny meme because I think again it may have been part of a Wednesday episode or something. I saw this funny meme of Jax behind a fence and his eyebrow was arched and he was just looking
Oh
around the corner. I was like, what?
yeah, that's how. So Jocelyn came and like to the little town and was like
Uh-huh.
showing Dex's picture. Like, do you know this person? Do you know this person? This guy was like, no. Uh, and then Dex was like poking his head around the fence, and that like, and he like was like Joss or whatever. Yeah,
Oh.
it was. I so I like Jex. I like how dramatic they are for just like they're so dramatic. Everything is like I can't live without you. I've never loved like you. It's so I'm a fan of that, especially for young people. Uh,
Right.
and for what it is, I thought it was cute. I continue to hate the story they've gotten. I hate that like everything about them relates back to Sunny. They don't really
Mm-hmm.
have anything of their own, anything that feels independent for them. Um, yeah, and like the dialogue of Joss like trying to get him to come back was like really silly up
Mm-hmm.
until I because what I thought was that she was going to try to go with him. 'Cause Joss is rich.
Oh.
She could go.
Yeah.
You
She
know,
can
like
go anywhere. She ain't got to be in college or be a doctor.
right, right. I mean, like I thought that, that was what was gonna be the case. Like that she was gonna be like, I can take up whatever another time. Like I'm rich. It's not like I'll bankroll us. Like I can get a whole nother life and go to school here or whatever it is. And then Michael would have called them back. But
Oh
for them
yeah.
to pretend like Joss has no idea how the mob works is I'm just like,
I did
why
think
would you
that.
think that Jackson
Yeah.
come back?
I did think it was really kind of silly where she's like she made it more about Sunny just wanting to kill Dex versus understanding the situation that Dex put Sunny in, and that Sunny can't really have Dex be around because it just puts the whole family in jeopardy, the business in jeopardy. And it felt like she didn't quite get that, and I thought that was yeah, a little silly of her. But yeah. But
Yeah.
I don't think she still to this day grasps the enormity of what the business is and how it impacts the family.
Hmm.
Because she does make silly choices. Like
Yeah.
if she really knew what that impact was, she probably wouldn't have fell in love with Dex in the first place.
Well, you know, the heart wants what it wants.
Right.
But I think and I think that that's like a little bit of the appeal of Dex, right? That like
Hmm.
this pull between them was so strong. There was kind of nothing that she could do about it, right? Like nothing
Hmm.
that either of them can do about it, which is like what makes their story appealing to me.
All
I really wish,
Romeo-ish and Juliet.
yeah, I really wish they would have tied, um, and like I wish they would have had Sunny say something to Nina around, you made me look weak.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
because like let's talk about the blend between the professional and the personal. Your enemies and like whoever else in the mob world knew Carly. They
Hmm.
knew that Carly held it down where you were supposedly dead. And then
Hmm.
you flipped and like put aside your family to go be with her. So people could have been thinking, oh, he's weak because he's doing that. In the same vein of like, okay, now Nina's called the SEC on your baby mama, and like again, put your family in jeopardy. And so here we have Dex, who used to work for you, who you allowed to slip under the radar, again, putting your family in jeopardy. And I really wish they would have like made some connection there about like all of this making Sunny look weak.
Not only did Nina make Sunny look weak to outsiders and the mob business, she made Sunny look weak to the family,
Mm-hmm.
like to Michael and to Carly. Like they're like he's willing to do all make these really rash decisions, throw the family away over this woman. We can't trust him to run his own business right now. Like
Right.
he's gonna start making other stupid decisions. We need to put you in there just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's bad. Like nobody trusts that Sunny can make a decision really great now because of Nina
Yeah.
and all of her actions.
And because what he's allowed. Because I
What
mean,
he's
it's
allowed her to
limited
do.
to like
Yeah.
what he is allowed to happen.
Hmm.
Um, like it's just like the lack of connection. And this is something that we've seen over the past few years, which is like stories happen in silos and there's not a connection between one
Hmm.
thing or the next, or things aren't growing with each other. And
Right.
I think that that would have made the story more interesting if we would have seen that. And like for me, I don't know if it would have made Sona more appealing. Again, I don't ever ship Sunny with anybody, and I don't like Nina, but I do think that like the acknowledgement of I like this is what I'm doing despite my family, and not like I can't believe my family doesn't support me for doing these things would have been more appealing to me as a viewer. But speaking of the mob, so much is happening. Um, Jagger visits Carly and lets slip that that Sunny's being targeted. Sunny uses or Carly uses Stone's memory and the idea that and you're drinking Corinthos coffee to be
I
like
love that. That was like that was funny.
I was on the other hand like, girl, what are you talking about? um we got Sunny still being mad at Michael, aka Judas. Every time he calls him Judas, I crack up.
And that's another hilarious thing is like he called Nita petty. He is super petty himself.
Oh
That's
yeah.
just super petty.
That's when they got together.
Right.
Michael, of course, is like, I gotta protect my daddy, get Dex back here. He also like tells Jagger, I'm not gonna ever call him anything but Jagger, um, that he should be professional.
Stand down, Agent Cates.
Oh my goodness.
Can I talk
Jagger
about can
Scott,
I yeah, I just want to talk about Jagger real quick.
please do.
I just I don't like the former actor who played Jagger. What was his
Yeah.
name? Antonio
It's on Sabato
Sabato.
Jr. Yeah.
Right. I do not like him. But I really feel like the guy that's playing Jagger now is not the right person. Like I feel like he needs to be Brooklynized. Like
Yeah.
he's too like, and I'm sorry, our white fans, he's too white for this conversation. I feel like for someone who's supposed to be formerly of the streets, then becomes a cop because of what happened to him in the streets. He don't seem like he was raised in the streets. He seems like he was raised in, upstate New York. Right? He doesn't feel like he has that streets heat or, energy.
Mhm.
And it really came out in the fight that Sonny had with him in the boxing. First of all, he didn't seem like he should have been in that boxing club. Like
What?
he would have like people would have looked at him and like who is this cat? He don't look like he belonged.
Right,
And then
right.
second, like the way he lunged at Sonny, so it was so white. I'm sorry. He was like, oh, I was like, yeah, I'm
It
sorry.
was
He just
not
did
good.
not seem it was not good. And so he doesn't seem like the character too much. And there's people who have been white that grew up in the streets in the hood, and they act like they grew up in the streets in the hood. This guy does not, to
No.
me.
No.
So, Yeah, I just think he's kind of miscast.
I agree with you. I agree with that. I mean, and this is not, I'm not calling this man ugly by any stretch of the
Oh
imagination.
no,
I'm
he's a
not
handsome
saying
man.
that. But well, I didn't say that either. But also,
You're like, oh, I didn't say that.
I don't like Antonio Sabato Jr. as like a person, but he is definitely like a handsome man, like objectively. And part of like not Stone, Jagger was there to be like a himbo.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like that was like the point. Like the point is that he was supposed to be like really attractive. And so this man not being, and not, I'm not calling him ugly. I wouldn't ever do that anyway. And I don't believe that he's ugly, but he's not Antonio Sabato Jr. You know what I'm saying? Like he just
mhm.
like Antonio Sabato Jr. is so handsome that I can still call him handsome despite how awful he is as a human. You know? So
Right.
it just like it's such a miscast in addition to like him not feeling like he's somebody from the streets. He's also
Mm-hmm.
like the himbo that Jagger has always been.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely agree. It's not now I did think it was interesting that Scott had that scene with him. So I know that you are deep in GH history. How did you feel about the Scott and Jagger scene?
I mean, I'm not shocked that, Scott was trying to be like, why do you even care about Sonny?
Hmm.
Like, just let him die. I was not shocked by that scene at all. I mean, Scott was still in his feelings about his daughter, who he barely knew, but that's whatever.
Oh,
Just like, I mean, but they're still, in that mode of, Sonny is always going to be on site. And so I felt like, I mean, it was a great history recap. It was a great call to history, and I wasn't shocked by it all. It was very intriguing, and it should have been it should have been that way. I think they should have seen each other and been like Scott plotting with him to bring Sonny down. I
mhm.
think that was actually great. I just think the character is just not the right character,
No, I
or the
agree.
actor is not the right actor.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's
Yeah.
distracting to me as a viewer. Now, if other
Yeah.
people like it, let us know in the comments if you like it. Like, if it doesn't distract you, um,
Hmm.
give me the tips so it won't distract me.
Right. Tell us how we should be thinking about this character.
But like, yeah, I do like it. We'll continue to talk about, but that they are leaning deep on history, and I think
Yes.
that that is actually like important to remember as we think about going into like this new set of head writers,
Hmm.
that they are leaning deep into their history bag. Uh,
Yeah, we have another example, which we'll probably talk about
yeah,
later, that we'll
yeah.
see. Yeah.
So it's I think that that like I'm looking at that like what else do y'all have in store? Because this is
Hmm.
clearly like the callbacks, and it's
Hmm.
clear to me that they're like trying to bring viewers back.
Hmm.
And so I think that's interesting. I think it's also interesting to remind people about Sunny
Hmm.
because recently we have not had people have this understanding of that Sunny is not good as a person, right? Or like he is not like the good guy. At
Right.
best, Sunny is an anti-hero.
Hmm.
He should It's weird to have the whole town beholden to him. So you do have a little separation between him and Laura. But even Anna's like the stuff she was saying, I was like, free my girl. Okay. I'm tired of her talking like
Yeah.
this. It's absurd. Of course,
Especially Anna of all people.
of all people. But now she's the police commissioner. How can we expect you will take Sonny down or whatever needs to happen
Right.
if like you just had his bodyguards protecting you?
And and I think it's different than Mac, right? Mac would grudgingly be like, okay, fine, we'll protect Sunny. But he was always Sunny on site. It didn't matter. He always had an attitude with Sunny. And he was, I mean, Mac was like Robin's dad. And so, I mean, it should be kind of the same feeling that Anna should have for Sunny, but she doesn't. She's like, now they're like best friends and they've suffered
Yeah.
together and blah blah blah. And so she wants to protect him. One thing I also want to note was that fight did, and it was funny because I feel like that fight in the boxing um, club really kind of showed Dante and Michael how ruthless and petty he could be. Like that Sunny was called back to historical Sunny, you
Yeah,
know? And I think Michael and Dante was like, what is he? Who is this man? They did not recognize that in him.
right.
And I thought that was really interesting. And I thought that was actually really, other than, Jagger, who's not Jagger, I thought that scene was actually really good.
I mean, I thought it was fascinating
Mhm.
because it is like it is this competition again between Michael and Dante,
Dante, yeah, who's
which
the
is
real
like,
son?
yeah,
Yeah,
which is like he's never gonna look. I could betray him 1,000 times over. He's still not gonna trust you because
in the
you're
same way. Yeah, because you're a god.
and I felt like that was like, oh, let's see if
True.
a little competition between the brothers.
Right.
Um, I do like Chad scenes. I like, Zaddy Dante, Daddy Dante, Brother Dante. So I do like the scenes between Dom and Chad. You can, and with Mo, like you could just tell the familiarity between them,
Mm-hmm.
and the chemistry between them is like really there. I
Mm-hmm.
loved how petty Sunny was. Like the whole time. Sunny being petty towards Michael will always, it makes me mad. I get infuriated, but I also laugh because the way they play it is so funny. And so, like, after all this beef they've had, now all of a sudden Michael has to be the person who's begging to be like, Dad, don't be mad at me, Dad.
But you know how it's different than the relationship he has with Nina. He's
Mhm.
expressing anger to Michael and to Carly. He's letting them know that he's not happy with them. He's being petty. He's gonna ice them out in his way, but it's not the same emotional cutoff that he did with Nina.
Right.
You can tell eventually Sonny will get over it and he'll forgive them because they're still in the room with him. He's still talking to them. It's totally different with Nina. And that's the interesting dichotomy of Sonny. It's like once he cuts you off, it's really over. He hasn't done that with Sonny and Carly. I mean, like he had that scene with Carly in the park. He's like, I'm mad at you. I can't believe you did this. I didn't think it was you, but he's still talking to her and he walked away and was like, bye. And she's like, bye. So
That
it's
those buys cracked me up, and I had to wonder. I was
right.
like, was that ad libbed? Because it was so funny.
Right. She's like, are you going to say goodbye to your daughter? She's like, no, tell her I love her. Bye. Bye.
And you could feel how you feel about like the unholy trinity of Carly, Jason, and Sunny, but they like there is like some kind of magic between them. Um, I'm not a Charlie fan when it comes to them as like a couple, but I do love Jason and Carly's friendship. I've always loved it. I think that's probably why I hated the relationship so much. I've always not really cared for that, but just like the way they're able to play off of each other and have those moments is like very unique to that group of people. So
Yeah.
anyway, Ava's also now in the know of the mob stuff. Selena Wu don't like that. Like,
And I enjoyed that too. Only because I mean, one, we haven't really seen Selena and Ava play off each other and the two actresses play off each other. And I like that. I like
yeah,
that tension, that kind of rivalry where Selena's like, dismissive of Ava and Ava's like, girl, you just don't know. And so whatever, so I'm gonna be here and I know what's gonna I'm used to this kind of dynamic. I've been here before. I'm of the Jerome family. You can't dismiss me.
that's right.
And I loved it. And Ava was looking fly. Selena was looking fly.
Every time.
Just
They gonna
like
do
it's
it.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. And both of those actresses, both Maura West and Lydia Look, are like walking chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not anybody who I see either of them in a scene with that they don't elevate. And so having them go toe to toe with each other is just like, I know that's right.
Yes.
Now be besties and then hate each other and then be best.
Right.
Uh,
Oh, yeah. People, well, there was some really off the wall posts on on Facebook were like, "Who's gonna be Ava's best friend now that Nina is gone?" And they were like, "Should it be Carly?" No one suggested Selena, but I think Selena would be amazing.
And I like Carly and Ava's reluctant co-parenting. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yes.
need them to be besties. I need them to be begrudgingly civil to each other. And like
Right.
care when something big is happening. Like I remember one of my favorite Carly Ava scenes is when Ava showed up to the house like really drunk way back in the day, and then Carly was like, get your shit together. I'm not gonna use this right now, but I'm gonna keep it in my pocket. Because it was like you're Avery's mother, and I love that. I like we love our sets of kids more than we hate each other. But we do still hate each other.
Right.
Like,
I would be sorry if they were really best friends because then we wouldn't be able to get the barbs that they throw at each other
right.
anymore. And that would be sad because they are really good at going in at each other. And those are like the best scenes ever. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I like that too. I don't want Carly and Ava to be best friends, but it would be interesting to see. I think it would be amazing to see a relationship between Selena and Ava in some way. Like maybe after this, whatever's going down in the warehouse, Selena has a grudging respect for Ava. And, maybe they team up in some way around something. But I think it would be interesting.
for real. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really love them. I will also say, and I've talked about this a bunch, but the like disconnect between the danger of Sunny and like people took a shot at you at your island. Why would you go do like something like that with Donna, like so in the open? Like people took a shot at you, and then you're just showing up to Maxie and Spinelli's house that's we know is not locked down. It just it continues to bug me. Like, where are Carly's guards? Where are Nina's guards? Where it Ava needs the protection for what? But the other baby mamas that you have don't need the protection. I don't get it.
Right. But I mean, it was just apparently it was a plot piece, and that's fine to put Ava and Sunny together
Sure.
because one, she's in the middle of Sunny and Nina, and two, you know, she's now the only person he could trust.
But what happens when he finds out she knew about the SEC stuff? What happens?
Like all
It's
kinds of
petty
secrets
enough
still need to come out.
because Nina's petty enough to tell.
Right. Like I don't know why Sunny hasn't put two and two together that Ava might have known about it because Nina and Ava were best friends. And he hasn't thought that maybe Nina told somebody outside of the lawyer.
We'll see.
But anyway,
Um, Spixie and Love not together. Um, I don't know about you. I love Spixie. I knew that they'd be going back and forth. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, and I'm currently picking out what I'm going to wear to the wedding. So, how are you feeling about? How are you feeling about it?
I haven't really I really felt I almost like wanted to give an acting nod to Spinelli. Who's playing him again?
Bradford.
Bradford. Oh my god, I think the acting where he was admitting to Maxie that he was in love with her was so on point. He was so good. And I
Yeah.
was like, wow, I forgot about how good he is as an actor in playing Spinelli. It was so good. It made me I was all in my feels and nervous for him. The way he was, he's like, I'm not saying it correctly, but I just I was just like, oh my God, Spinelli, you're awesome. And
Yeah.
but at the same time, I could totally see Maxie's point where not only was she manipulated about trying to feel her way through fixing her finances, but her heart was manipulated because she says, like, what if she had never fallen in love with Spinelli? She might not have fallen in love with Spinelli if he wasn't in her presence.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh dang, yeah, they really did manipulate her heart in that way. But the ups and downs. I'm like you. I am excited for them to get together.
Hmm.
I'm excited to see what the mature side of Maxie and Spinelli are in a relationship. I'm
Yeah.
excited about it. And I didn't, at first I wasn't like, oh, okay, same old Maxie and Spinelli. I do want them together, but I'm not sure how exciting it will be. But I was really intrigued and I was in it. And so I'm happy about it. I'm happy about the storyline. It's
Yeah.
great. And I
Yeah.
think it's a more engaging storyline that Kristen Storms has been in for the past couple of years. And it, like this business stuff or being like the caterer or the wedding planner. I think this is a really engaging storyline for her, and I think she's shining because of it. And I like it.
Right. Because you also, because they don't really use Maxie a lot, like you forget
Yeah.
her comedic timing with Bradford, and
Mm-hmm.
they just sparkle for me. They're such a comfort couple. I think the show doesn't have enough couples. Like sometimes couples are gonna have like those front burner adventure stories. You're gonna have like a Sabrina in Paris. You're gonna have a Jex on the run or whatever they're doing. Not run, but like just on the romp and then home.
On the romp, they went to the city next door and about to come back.
You're gonna have your Santes that are like, steady and family. You're gonna have your Chillens who are in the way and like getting married. You're gonna like the story, like the show needs more couples, and every couple is not gonna be dramatic at every time. That's like the love in the afternoon part of it. And so I think that Spixie is that couple that like is that comfort couple that we've rooted for that can maybe have some hijinks but could also be together, and I'm ready for that. But I'm also ready for like the ride they take us on. Just don't take too long. Um,
No, I don't. Well,
no, please go ahead.
I don't usually want to say anything about Maxie's wardrobe, except that sweater was just really crazy to me because it felt like it had holes all through it, and I don't know if it was on purpose or not. I just did not like that black
I
and
think
white sweater that she was wearing with
yeah, we should talk to
in that
Felicia.
scene.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just was like, what is up with that sweater? Is it supposed to be holy or is it
I
not
think it was
supposed to be
supposed to be
holy?
like distressed. I do think that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just not distressed enough for me to really know for sure. I was like,
Yeah. No, I think
so
it was supposed to be like a distressed sweater, which I really liked. I mean, I would have worn it in sans holes, but like that's
yeah.
actually like my vibe. That kind of like at the house leggings, like off the
No,
shelf.
yeah, I usually like that too. I was just like trying to figure out what the sweater was. And I
It
didn't
was doing
like
too
it.
much.
It was doing too much. Not
Um,
enough.
but I am glad that like Felicia did name like y'all have always loved each other a little bit.
Hmm.
It's just I don't know. I can gush about Spixie forever, so I'm gonna hold it. But they're very special to me.
Oh
I
yeah.
really love Kristen Storms and have for forever. So
Yeah.
um, I love Spixie.
Yeah. And I
Um,
do like, I mean, outside of Spixie too, Kristen Storms is always nailing it. I mean, especially, her interactions with Jane Elliott.
yes,
It was amazing. So yeah.
I adored her interactions with Jane Elliott. Adored.
Yes. It was the
Um,
best.
you know what I did not adore?
Uh-oh.
Them making Eva LaRue a weird ass homophobe.
I know. But
So
she was so good at it though. It was so believable. But it was just
Christina and
like,
Blaze,
oh my
fol-
gosh.
Christina and Blaze following their night together. Um, woke up. Christina looking at the sonogram. We know what that means. Um, and Blaze's mama just shows up and walks in the room and is like, "What's going on?" So first they had to lie and be like, "Oh, we're just like," Christina's like, "We're just friends having a sleepover," and Blaze was like, "No, that's my girlfriend." How did you feel about it?
Well, I mean, I think they really set the scene early on when first of all, mom didn't know that her daughter would not like these, full leather sandals.
Eh,
Mom did not. Mom was like, "Oh, I brought you your favorite," and she's like, "This isn't my favorite. I don't like it." And then it was really interesting how Christina was like, "It's because she doesn't like that kind of texture, avocado and blah blah blah." And it was like really showing that Mom doesn't know her daughter very well. And then so that kind of dichotomy, and finally it was just like, I'm frustrated at your lack of seeing me, lack of actually knowing who I am, and this is just the kind of the icing on the cake. I need to tell you that I'm actually, in a relationship with Christina, not just having a sleepover.
Mhm.
And I think that's the thing. I was like, I'm sad that Ava had to play this character, but she was really good at it. She was really like a pushy, um, really kind of like not knowing who her daughter is, mom. And she played this mom in a way where it felt true to me. You know how sometimes parents are very dismissive of their children
Mhm.
and not listening to their children, not seeing their children, especially when they're adults. Like the tone that they talk to you, like you can't overrule me right now. I'm the one who's right. You're the one who's wrong. And I
Right.
don't care because I'm your mama. She had that whole attitude, even if she didn't say those words, that attitude just came off in waves. And I was just like, Mom, listen to me. And I was like, and it wasn't even, it wasn't even my thing, but she felt like my mom, I felt like my mom has treated me sometimes. And she was so good at that, and she was only there for a day, and I was like, man, I hope she comes back.
I believe she will be. I believe
Okay,
she will be.
good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but I felt like a frustrated child in that scene. I really felt for Blaze. Even though I don't know exactly what Blaze is going through, and because I don't have that same experience, but I felt that experience as a child to a parent that doesn't pay attention and thinks they knows what's best.
Yeah. Where to start? How I feel about this? I don't know. I apologize if I've used this analogy before, but I'm going to use it again in case people haven't heard it. So I think that what I would have been more interested in, um the stuff around like money in her career, less so than her mom being homophobic.
Oh
Because we
yeah.
told this story so many times.
Mm-hmm.
BBC soaps has told this story. GH has told this story. Like, in the words of our Queen Quinta, people be gay.
Have
So
what
like,
now? The whole I don't recall a story. Maybe you can refresh my memory. A story around um Latina
no,
Latinos and
no, 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 no,
homosexual,
no.
because that's a special dynamic.
It is. It
Yeah,
definitely is a special cultural dynamic.
yeah.
And like, I just feel like there is something to be said about like in 2024,
Mm-hmm.
there could be like a dismissal of it. But it doesn't have to be, I don't know, like I just feel like we've seen this story play out so much, and what
Mm-hmm.
could be more powerful is to like be like, okay, girl, well, let's put that on the back burner. Let's talk about how you, as
You
opposed to
ain't.
ignoring it or being like this ain't really you, being,
Yeah.
let's talk about how you ain't did no songs. Let's talk about how Brooklyn's not a good manager for you, because what is that about? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like for me, there's something to be said about having stories with queer people that don't just center on their sexual, like center on being queer, like telling a whole
Yes.
story about somebody. And I was like making this analogy a couple years ago. There was like two Christmas movies. So one was like Kristen Stewart and and like her girlfriend, and then there was another one, if you watched Ugly Betty, the guy who played Mark going home to his family. So the Kristen Stewart one was like she had a girlfriend, and then she found out her girlfriend, like, parents didn't know she was out, so she was like going home with her for Christmas, and like just the whole thing. And it was like all the trauma of like, damn, okay, like we're trying to watch a Christmas story here. Now we got to watch like bigots, you know what I mean? And then like Single All the Way, which was like the Netflix one, that was the two guys was just sugary sweet. Like he was like, he went home, his family all knew, it wasn't even a part of the story for real. It was the part of the story that it was that they were in this small town. He went home and there was only one other gay guy, and his mom was like, you should date him. And then everybody, he took his best friend home with him, and like the family was like looking while dude was out spending time with this other guy, was like, damn, we really love this best friend, this is who you should be with. But it was like, so I get it, and I don't want to overlook people feeling seen in stories about their sexuality. And I also am like, there are times you can tell stories um about queer people that doesn't mean that you have to tell trauma. You know what I mean? And so I also feel like for us to like see Eva LaRue be like a bigot and then like disappear, like if we're gonna tell that story, let's actually tell that story out and not let it hang in the air. Um, yeah, that was like my feeling. And then
Yeah.
also, girl, why are you just showing up in your rock star daughter's hotel room, opening the door? What are you doing?
Right. I felt like Blaze had asked her, like, Mom, what are you doing here? And she gave some really quick response, and I couldn't quite understand it. Like, how are you able to just walk into your daughter's room?
Right.
But there was something like, oh, I just used the card or something like that. And I was like, but I still didn't get it. So I
Yeah.
felt like that needed to be explained, and it may have something to do with her being in charge of Blaze's finances. I
Mm.
don't know, but it wasn't quite explained very well. And so yeah, I hope you're right that Ava is coming back and that that story is played out. And not only is the story played out, the family stays because we really don't have Latina representation on that show.
Mhm.
So I hope it's built out. I hope, Ava stays. Maybe she falls in love with somebody, or uncle and cousins and family come and stay too because they feel like they need to be there to support Blaze, or, change, or I don't know what was going on, but I want them to stay.
Maybe her and Sonny after him and Ava have their affair.
Right.
I will also say this since you brought up representation, because I had it as a hot take, but I do want to say it was really weird that we didn't see Trina this week. I think the only Black people person that we saw this week was Curtis with Drew. Is that right? Did we see was that Daniel this week? I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was just like I continue to be frustrated um with like the lack of Black people on the show and the lack of like actual grounding in like legacy that Black people have. I do know that Rael, who plays Taggart, like was on on Instagram and Twitter talking about like, do y'all want to see Marcus back, and like watch out for that. I'm sure that Mo, I know that they've been really good friends, has probably advocated for him to come back. It just is such a miss that like he disappeared and has not been mentioned again when he is what actually rooted Trina to some legacy on the show. I would also really love anyway, so I'll just say that I'll stick a
Mm-hmm.
pin in that until what we want to see, but I just want to say that that was like concerning to me that like there was just like no Black story being told this week at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um it wasn't cute. Um Wedding dress shopping and prenups. Two things. Uh, Chase, you a broke boy and Brooklyn's rich. Get a prenup. And and uh that one dress that Brooklyn was like walking around in, no ma'am.
Everybody was no ma'am in that dress, and even she was. She was like, I don't
It wasn't
know.
loud enough for me. The no ma'am for that dress was not loud enough for me.
But
Uh
we settled on Grandma Lila's dress, and for what I saw of Grandma Lila's dress, that looked beautiful. That silk, that kind of off white cream thing, whatever it got going on, it looked gorgeous just from that
yeah,
that little small section, and I can't wait to see what it looks like.
yeah.
Um,
I do wonder if they're gonna like change it up a little bit or anything like that. Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, what a moment. Oh, the Lila flashback.
I didn't see the flashback.
Oh,
God dang, international news or whatever it was. Some probably had to be something with Trump or something.
look, I'm like,
Oh my God. Just like, ugh.
ugh. No, Lois, it was a flashback of Lois and Lila when Lila gave
Okay.
Lois her dress.
Okay.
It
Like
was,
I didn't that's the funny thing is I didn't even have to see the flashback to feel the emotions.
yeah,
It was so well done by Jane Elliott. It was amazing.
yeah. I mean, like you said, we loved Maxie and Jane Elliott together.
Hmm.
I just let Chase and Brooklyn do their thing. They are not a couple who needs to continually have these like, and luckily it was like a very short-lived situation. But
Mm.
like Chase is a puppy dog. Let him be a puppy dog. Let him play that. Let Brooklyn. I loved when Brooklyn was like, "You don't sign anything without reading it."
Right. Did
Okay,
you even read the like, don't
like
you ever?
I loved that. I was like,
Yes.
this is the dynamic that I love from them, where it's
Hmm.
like Chase is Chase and Brooklyn is like, nah, baby, it's us against the world, but also let me protect you too. I thought that was like a very, very sweet touch.
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand what was going on between. No, I liked the scenes with Brooklyn and Chase. The scenes with Finn and Chase, I didn't understand, and I was just like, why?
What
Why?
are you talking about?
Like I don't understand it. I didn't get it.
Of
And
course he's gonna be this boy's best man. What are you saying? Then Liz and Finn, worst couple ever, talking about marriage. God.
I was just like, my hot take was Finn and Liz should be talking about why they shouldn't be together, not why they're getting married. I was like, really? But now that I think about it, I think there was little things throughout the whole week that is trying to prime us for Jason's return. Liz and
And Finn?
Finn. Yeah, I even think Liz and Finn. I think Jason's gonna have an impact on that relationship. I think Jason's gonna have an impact on Carly and Sunny. I think Jason's gonna have an impact on Aiden and Jake. I think all of it was like there's like little
Danny and Jake.
things. Everything is gonna have some little impact. That Jason's gonna have some little impact on almost every story that was talked about this week.
Mm.
And so, like Drew, yes, everything. So, so that's why I'm not 100% mad at it. I am still mad at it. I'm mad that they're together. I'm mad that they're like having conversations. I don't. The only thing I'm really, and also I just think Liz's hair is looking great though, so I'm not mad at it. What I tend to do is like tune out the conversation and look at Liz's hair and be like, wow, it's really lustrous and brown. I love it. I'm just like, that's what I'd
It
be
was
doing.
bouncy this
And
week. It
then
was
this
bouncy.
week, I'm just like, wow, I love her hair today. That's what, and that's sad. If I'm looking at a character's hair more than I'm paying attention to the story, that sorry, that's sad.
What do they have going on? They literally were talking about Cameron having a crush on a damn cartoon and Violet fake getting married. Like, whatever. Get it out of here. It's terrible. As I just got done being like, we need more couples. Me, but not that couple. I'm very, very much like that one meme where it's like, you need to leave. That's me talking about Liz and Finn. They're terrible.
Yeah, I was just like totally not here for it. I'm like, marriage? No. I'm like, when he was like saying, okay, I'll bring it up. What do you think about marriage? I wanted her to be like, yeah, no. But it didn't. It didn't happen. I'm so upset.
The only thing worse than that is them kids fighting over a vape. So we Scout's birthday. I loved the guest list. I mean, I did miss like Rocco because I was like, "Where's
Mhm,
Rocco at?"
mhm.
But I loved that Jake and Danny were both there. I loved Christina bringing Blaze
That was so cute. And they
and
were
like
like all flustered.
the little teenage boys were like, "Oh my god!" And like the looks, the like kind of knowing looks, the like very small touch of Michael like counting down when Jake was gonna come back in the room. Um, Laura Ray and Kate Mancy have like some really interesting like chemistry, like together as like kind of family, not family. Um, I, Sam asking Drew to talk to Danny. I will say that Drew has been not my fave. I liked his scene with Sam. Not necessarily what they were saying, but I think they have like a very good rapport. And I think that she like grounded Drew. And I liked that.
Yeah, I kind of felt though that was my example of history, and you might that was another meme I was seeing on social media was that um, the scene between Danny and Jake reminded people a lot of the scenes between Jason and
AJ.
AJ.
I
Yeah,
didn't see that, but yeah,
because
definitely.
they were like it was like I think they were in that same location when AJ and Jason were well Jason was trying to get AJ to stop drinking,
Mm,
and so that's they showed those two scenes side by side.
wow.
So it was interesting, you know,
Oh, I didn't
maybe
see
I would have,
that.
yeah,
Send me
maybe I
that.
wouldn't have thought about it the same way if I hadn't seen that meme before I saw the scene,
Yeah.
but it really did kind of have a hallmark. Um, I thought it was interesting that Jake was like, "I'm not gonna rat on you, but you're not gonna take this vape." But yeah, so I think that's gonna be an interesting story dynamic, and yeah, especially when Jason comes back and if
Yeah.
Jason ever finds out and how he's going to react, you know, it's going to be interesting. So, oh, and another thing that was funny, well, not funny, but interesting was Alexis asking Drew about Nina. Um,
He's like, yeah, of course it's personal.
yeah, and you should watch her back because Nina is volatile and all the things.
Yeah, that made
So,
me laugh. He was
yeah,
like, yeah.
Nancy, you know, I don't like Nancy Lee Graham, but she has been doing interviews about the future storyline and should Alexis get her law license back and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I hope she does because I just like I'm sick of her being a media person.
I would be interested to see Nina versus Alexis. That would be
Right.
interesting to me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I whatever. I don't know. Drew, who knows? Um, yeah, I really don't have anything. Do send me that scene because I did think about Jason and AJ, but I didn't see that parallel being made. What I did see and then I logged off was a proxy war of like Liaison versus J Sam versus through their children, and I was like, nope,
A
won't
proxy war?
won't be thinking of won't be checking out part of that. Listen,
Oh.
I was on the front lines of J Sam versus Liaison Part One, on the message boards. I was a
Oh.
monster, is what I'm telling you. I
Uh-huh.
won't go back. I won't be dragged back into those days. I've grown.
So is there now trying to be like some sort of rivalry between J Sam's kids and
Liaison, yeah,
Liaison's kids? Oh,
100%. I don't know if it's
yeah.
like on the show, but it certainly is what I've seen like
And the
post.
fans.
Yeah. And
Interesting.
again, I will not be dragged back into that. I was on the J Sam front lines in like what 04, whatever it was, like back in the day.
All
Um
right, everyone. Mark your calendars. It is Sunday, March 3rd, and Tracy is not going to be dragged into the JSAM Liaison Wars. You
no,
heard it here first.
no. I
Don't
might
try
text
it.
you about it, but I will not be saying anything publicly about it. Absolutely not. Mm-mm. I've I've done my time. It's time for
Okay.
the generation now.
All right. I may text you about it though, but I'm not gonna do it.
And that's pretty much the week. I didn't have much else to say. I thought the week was pretty lackluster.
Yeah, we didn't get much of Zaddy, Dante, and Sam together.
Nope,
It's pretty sad.
nope. But with Dex coming back to town, maybe what saves him, you already know, Dante being his daddy. Uh,
Oh yeah, because what I mean, why else would Dex need to be in the scene with Jason back? Unless Jason, do we want to theorize about how Jason's gonna come back? Do you want to do that? Do you want to do that conversation, Tracy?
sure.
Okay. So some people are thinking that. Well, I always thought Jason was involved in this big hit against. I'm like, I think it's Jason. I think it's Jason. Some people are thinking that it's other people. Like some people are thinking it was Ava. Some people are thinking it's
I think I gave
Selena.
a theory.
Yeah, so that's interesting. There are other thoughts out there that Jason might have lost his memory and might come back as Jason Quartermain versus Jason Morgan. I don't know. It doesn't seem likely
I don't
because
feel
he's
like that's
still a,
likely. He hated Jason Quartermain. So, okay. So I think that he is an activated, like brainwashed,
again.
because when he got buried in the tunnel, he got buried with that like tarot card.
Oh yeah.
Um, Now I would love if Helena was the person in charge.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
like Helena's the person like this, like, y'all killed my grandson, my great grandson. I'm out, like I'm out here. Um, so that's
Yeah.
what I love. I think again, we talked about this. I think the show is leaning into history.
Hmm.
And so I think they know that, like, people will be okay with like a little bit of like a bridge of how you get back. But what the people want is Jason Morgan.
Right.
And so I think that it is clear to me that they are continuing to do what they think the audience wants. They're trying to bring people back. It's a big deal. Like Jason's coming back. Um, I think that we're gonna see some stuff with Sam and with Carly and Jason. If you
Hmm.
remember, like when they made the announcement, and what's still like pinned on GH's Instagram is like Steve, Kelly, and Laura. Um, so I think that's what I think that like that is part of the story that we're telling, and then obviously like the like reuniting with Spinelli and reuniting with Sunny. That's what I think.
And his kids.
Well, barely. I mean, you're right, and it should,
Should
but
be.
but as you saw
I
that
mean,
I laid out,
yeah. But I'm just saying, Danny's whole story is really about Jason. I mean, the fact that Sam brought him to the bridge, it was like, I know
yeah,
you miss your dad and all this other stuff. So I think they are gearing up to have Danny, at the very least, Danny interacting with Jason. I'm not
yeah,
sure
and
about
Jake,
Jake.
sure, Jake too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I
yeah.
think it'll be interesting. Having that. The reason why I feel it's less likely that he's coming back as Jason Quartermain is because Jason Quartermain wouldn't wear a black t-shirt.
Yeah.
So, and he's,
I mean,
he's debuting with the unless, I mean, he looked aggressive and angry or like in an activated mode, like you said. That picture looks like activated Jason versus confused Jason Quartermain. Like, what am I doing here? And why do I have blood? And why am I wearing a black t-shirt? He didn't look like that. He looked like, I'm Jason Morgan and I'm going to murder somebody and you just caught me. You know?
exactly. No,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. So,
I agree.
and Dante, I can't deal with you right now, you cop. And
Well, that's
that
the
kind
other thing that people are theorizing,
of,
which is that people, as the people I chat with about the show, is that Dante's gonna get shot
is
because
he
the
gonna
like
get shot in the chest?
I don't know. I
That
think that
means that
I think
he's
that
gonna
he
not have a shirt
survives.
on.
Yeah, I think he's is he gonna be
He's gonna have a hospital scene with no shirt and then maybe just a bandage. But we'll get to see.
just like, Tanya thirst for Dante is just, this is what y'all come here for. This is what I come here for. I come here for that, actually.
Right, because um it's all consuming thirst. I can't,
Yeah, I mean, and then like that's yeah. So people think Dante's gonna get shot. Um,
Aw.
yeah,
So I'm gonna write a scene for myself. I'm going to be a visiting nurse.
there you go.
And
Let's get it.
it's gonna be a little plot point where Dante's gonna be my first patient.
I should do.
And I'm gonna have to, sponge him down because you
Oh my
can't
god,
plunge a wound into a bath or a shower.
I get you.
Hmm.
I get it. I see
Nurse
it for
love.
you. I see it for
Yeah.
you.
Thanks.
Um, yeah. I mean, I'm interested to see what happens. I'm also thinking This is also around the time the new writers are going to start next couple of weeks. I mean, I know that people said this week. I think it's probably next couple of weeks that they like fully get into whatever they're doing. I also think that they probably like took out some stuff because if you notice, we had all those like flashbacks that were really weird. That to me is like looks like padding the script and padding the time and trying to make sure that things line up. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm hoping what we're seeing, and I think we've seen a little bit of this is like the return of romance, the return of friendships. I know that you weren't here last week, but I was saying I liked the double date between Spixie and then Cody and Sasha. So I'm hoping that we get a little bit of that. Even when you think about like Chase not having to ask Finn to be a best man, you're like, who else would he ask? Because he has not been friends with Michael like that in a long time. So I am hoping that like those like friendships, relationships, and all of that are something, and like actual growth around character is what we see with these new writers.
Wasn't he friends with TJ or was that Michael? No, it was TJ and home dude that got killed.
Oh yeah, Brando.
Brando.
Yeah.
TJ needs a friend. Chase needs a friend. Hello.
I mean, why to have TJ be so sidelined in this like story
Yeah.
around the surrogacy, and when he does show up, he's kind of a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
I The lack of story for Black people again. Bring, we need more young adults. Bring on another Black person, young adult, who can be friends with Trina and Josh, and
Mm-hmm.
actually have that person be connected to like the Hardys or to like a legacy family that also has Black people in it. Bring back a Ward, bring back, whatever. Like bring a cousin of Trina's in town who's a Taggart, something, because this is really ridiculous. And every time you have a new family and you don't give them things to do, then they can like pack up and disappear, and then the next time you want to have a Black family, we have to start all over again. um I've said many times, we can't have good story for Trina if there's not good story for all of the Black people on canvas and on the show. And not about Black people, but also about diversity. Where the hell is Terry and Yuri? That's my rant. That's all I got. You have anything else?
Nope. You said it all. I'm still, thinking about Nurse Love.
Right. Oh, the other question I have for you: who do you think owns Windermere now?
Good question. I think it's gonna be Cyrus.
Oh, yeah, probably is.
That's the only thing that will be really messy and cause consternation
Yeah.
across the nation. And
Where is Cyrus?
he's gonna change it into a studio or a church.
Where is it? Oh my God, not a church. Where is
Oh
his
my god.
radio show? We had the one episode and that's it.
Right. I
Yeah,
mean, GH is missing on an opportunity. We told y'all he should open up every Monday with the show, giving commentary on what's happening in General Hospital.
that's right. I would love it.
So,
All right,
yeah.
preview for the week ahead. Ready? Monday, Jason returns to Port Charles. Selena and Sunny's negotiation is abruptly interrupted. Laura confronts Cyrus. Brooklyn confides in Tracy. Heather attempts an escape. Tuesday, Jocelyn and Dex are in a frantic situation. Maybe because Dex's daddy was shot. Um, Sunny hits a sore spot with Jagger. Anna learns some tragic news. Marshall tells Curtis about his misdiagnosis. Laura acts fast in a crisis. Wednesday, Anna questions Jocelyn and Dex. Olivia and Sunny reconnect. Alexis is apprehensive. Cody and Sasha each make a confession. Spinelli and Ava are in for a shock. Thursday, Sonny and Ava share a loaded moment. Drew and Carly have their hands full. Maxie is stunned. Laura offers comfort. Brooklyn opens up to Jordan. Interesting. As you see, these are the first times I'm reading this. I will say that part of what I'm thinking about with the Dante thing, I mean, I could be very wrong, but like Sam is like suspiciously missing from these because I think, she will likely be on, but they're like, Sam is distraught, whatever. That might like give it away. And then I'm wondering if Drew and Carly have their hands full with all of the Sante kids.
Was it you or somebody else? Somebody else put speculation that something might happen with Spinelli.
I can't
And
handle that. Leave my
yeah,
brother.
so like if Spinelli gets shot and then Maxie has to come to terms with her true feelings for him, that's a plausible scenario.
True. True.
Or Dante gets shot and Nurse Love gets to go to the hospital. That's a
Right.
scenario. And maybe that's why we don't see Sam because Nurse Love and Dante fall in love.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Mhm.
And then Friday, Carly is taken aback. Nina corners Ava. Sunny gets an update on Jagger's investigation. Michael tries to convince Dex to stay. Alexis vents to Diane. And that's the week.
Well, looking forward to it.
I am.
Yay.
Thank y'all for rocking with us. Thank you for staying to the end. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to leave us a comment. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I think that would be really cool
Are
for
we? How close are we?
not close a lot, not close enough.
Okay.
But I was like looking at those, like I thought it was gonna be a great goal. So please tell your friends
Hey.
about us. Let them know if they want sometimes really biased, but also fun commentary about General Hospital in Port Charles. They should hit us up. And we will see you next week.
Thank you for watching.
Bye, y'all.